Hello again, everyone. Today, there are some quite interesting developments happening on the XRP front. When we look at the price, we see that XRP has managed to stay above its most important support zones. Especially despite the recent selling pressure, the fact that buyers continue to remain in the market has caught the attention of investors. From a technical perspective, the most important issue for XRP right now is current, whether the upward momentum can be maintained, and the strong reactions at certain price levels in recent weeks show that investors see value in this area. If the buying pressure continues, there is a possibility that XRP will retest the resistance levels ahead of it. Of course, as long as Bitcoin, which is one of the biggest factors in the market, remains strong, it seems that money will continue to flow into the altcoin market. This could allow projects with a large market presence like XRP to continue attracting investor interest. Another important point is the developments happening on the institutional side. Friends, expectations for an ETF related to XRP, positive news from the regulatory side, and the continued growth of the Ripple ecosystem are supporting the long-term outlooks of many investors. For this reason, the market is not only focused on daily price movements, but also on how XRP's use cases are developing. In the short term, the main issue investors will be watching is whether the price can maintain its current support levels. If buyers continue to stay in control, we may see upward movements continue. However, it is important to remember that the crypto market is highly volatile. Therefore, both support and resistance levels should be closely monitored. Currently, XRP is trading around the $1,100 level, and the fact that it has managed to stay above this region in recent days is quite remarkable. In particular, the preservation of the psychological $1,000 level shows that buyers are still strong in the market. From a technical perspective, the first significant support region is around $1,050. Friends, so these regions are very noteworthy. In other words, these regions are extremely important for XRP. If it continues to stay above this price level, we may see the upward trend continue. Further down, there is the $1,000 support level. Many investors are watching this area as a critical support. In the upward scenario, a level of $1,200 is seen. In the upward scenario, $1,200 stands out as the first significant resistance zone. If XRP manages to break through this level, a new wave of upward movement could begin in the market. In such a case, investors may once again set their sights on $1,350 or $1,500. Friends, although buyers currently appear to have the advantage, trading volume needs to continue increasing. Because for strong upward movements to be sustainable, it's not just the price, but also the trading volume that needs to provide support. However, friends, while these things are being discussed on the price side, a very important development has taken place in the XRP ecosystem. The XRP Ledger team has recently officially released the XRPL 3.20 update. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary update. However, developers say that this is one of the most important updates in recent times in terms of network performance. According to the statements made, with this update, the overall efficiency of the network has been increased and the resource usage of nodes has been optimized. In other words, validators and network participants operating on the XRP ledger will now be able to run the system more efficiently. This is considered a highly significant development for the network's scalability in the long term. In addition, various security improvements and bug fixes were also included in the update. It is particularly noteworthy that some technical enhancements have been added to make it easier for developers to build applications on the XRP ledger. Another important topic is the potential impacts on the institutional side. Recently, as interest in the Ripple ecosystem has increased, the strengthening of the XRP ledger's technical infrastructure is being interpreted as a positive development by many investors. Because for large companies and financial institutions, a strong and stable infrastructure is extremely important. Of course, it would not be realistic to expect a software update alone to cause a price surge. However, such infrastructure improvements are often at the core of the long-term growth of the crypto market. Networks that operate faster, more efficiently, and more securely can attract more users and developers over time. For this reason, XRP investors are currently closely following not only the price movements, but also these developments happening on the XRP ledger side. Especially during a period when ETF expectations are rising and institutional interest is being discussed, this update has been received very positively within the XRP community. In the coming weeks, we will start to see both the price movements and the effects of this update on the ecosystem more clearly. Friends, that's all from me for today. See you next time. Take care.